you, sir. Thank you for joining us. I imagine, sir, a very hectic day. Did they do the traditional chasing of the Congress people through the bowels of the building?
Yeah, well, luckily it was snowing outside, so all the insurrectionists were slipping and falling on the road and everything. So, but no, today was actually a totally uneventful and peaceful and nonviolent day. It's what January 6th should be, and it's what it used to be like, I suppose.
Congressman, is it hard on a day like today, seeing the way that it went, not to be passive-aggressive to the Republican colleagues, to not be like, oh, hey, look at this, done by one. Hey, look, oh my God, we can go out to Fridays and eat apps because there was no rioting.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing took like maybe 25 minutes. It should have taken 15 minutes, but some of our Republican colleagues confused it with the Republican National Convention, and they were cheering and applauding and yelling. We were just there to count the votes, and we were not there to, continue the campaign. But, yeah, I mean, I talked to my friend Lauren Boebert, and I asked her how she enjoyed it, and she said it was great because no Democrats had made any objections, and I said it was terrific because nobody tried to assassinate the vice president. And so, we were all happy with how it went.
That's a good point. Now, at any point with Lauren Boebert, when you say something like that, and I'm assuming that this doesn't happen, but does she ever say, touché?
Lauren's actually very funny, it's sort of like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. You're either a Marjorie Taylor Greene person or you're a Lauren Boebert person. And I'm a Lauren Boebert person myself, although they call her Lauren Gropert, which really isn't fair.
So there's a lot of passive aggression down there.
There is indeed.
What is now, things aren't going to change much in the House because Johnson was the speaker before the Republicans controlled the House. So generally, other than some changing of committee chairmanships and your being elevated to ranking, what's going to be different for Democrats in the House in this new session?
They've got a much narrower margin now. So I think we're down to 219 to 215, and because Matt Gaetz left, and then Elise Stefanik's on her way out, and Mike Walls. I appreciate that cheer. So it'll be 217 to 215, which means they cannot afford to lose a single vote. And they've already suffered the defection of Congresswoman Spartz from Indiana, who got so mad about the fact that she wasn't put on the committee she wanted, that she has left the Republican conference and is an independent now. And we haven't even started deliberations yet. So I think we're going to be in good shape to exploit some of the conflicts and contradictions going on within the Republican conference. I think you probably saw, John, that the enraged, nativist, racist mega base is upset with Elon Musk and the oligarchs who want to bring in tens of thousands more cheap foreign laborers. And so that's something that's already starting to explode in terms of the Republican politics. But there's a bunch of issues like that, including abortion, where there's still some libertarians who don't want to go near it, but the theocratic majority within MAGA, led by Mike Johnson, say that life begins at conception. And so they've been trying to ban it nationally, and we expect that to come back. And hopefully we'll be able to pull over some of the lingering pro-choice Republicans.
Right. Is that more a question of, in terms of, because when you don't control, in the House especially, is kind of a zero-sum game. The Senate rules are sort of so antiquated and bizarre, and you need 60 for this and cloture for this and 3/4 for this. The House really is, even if you have one other member, you control all of who gets called before Congress. You get to control the witnesses. You get to control the legislation. Does that make it harder for Democrats, even on a purely logistical, mechanical way?
Yeah, it does. Because over on the Senate side, they've got the filibuster, so each senator theoretically can throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing, whereas, we've got our rules committee and we adopt the rule, and the rules usually whatever the majority wants. In fact, they wrote the first partisan discrimination into House rules in history, saying that they're going from one person to move to vacate to 7 members moving to vacate, but they've got to be from the majority party. So it would be like saying, only Republicans can move to adjourn or move to reconsider a vote, but they voted for that. And one of my new colleagues, actually from Rhode Island, said, "This is outrageous. This violates equal protection. Let's go to the Supreme Court." And I was like, yeah, we've been there. We've done that. The Roberts Court is not exactly all over these unconstitutional.
Right. You got to tell the new kids, like, I've got some bad news for you about that Supreme Court. They're going to do that. Are there things, though, like, can the Republicans do that with, like, the debt ceiling? Like, I know there were a lot of Democrats who thought that the debt ceiling fights were ridiculous and really limited their ability to get anything done. Are there any sort of, can the Republicans say, we're going to remove the debt ceiling, but only for 4 years, and basically force for whatever they want to do and spend on, they can do. And if Democrats regain control, that all goes away again.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, they're more divided than they are even hateful of us. So they can't get together to get anything done. If you look at the last Congress, the only way that we kept the government afloat and going was Democrats coming in to bail out Mike Johnson, and I think it's going to be the same thing. I do think there could be some issues where we get together. For example, Donald Trump is very proud of the fact that he beat Kamala by 3 million votes, and we are proud of the fact that Joe Biden beat Donald Trump by 7 million votes in 2020. But if they're proud of the popular vote, why don't we get rid of the Electoral College and start electing the president the way we elect everybody else, like representatives and senators and mayors and governors? Why don't we actually come together and step forward? I mean, the Electoral College can get you killed these days, as we saw in 2020, and it's given us 5 popular vote losers in our history twice in this century, Donald Trump and George W. Bush. So let's move forward on that. Why don't we get together on that?
Is that before or after they add the conservative provinces of Canada to the popular vote total? Like, I just get the sense that they're always one step ahead. They're like, sure, let's do that. Oh, welcome Alberta. Like, they'll do something that just screws it. And is there something in here, too, Congressman, I want to ask you, isn't there something freeing for the Democrats right now, having nothing to do with the Republicans and their infighting and all that? I follow this relatively closely, enough to look like this now. I'm 27. I follow it relatively closely. I don't know who's in charge of the Democratic Party. I don't know the direction you're going. Isn't there something enlivening about the opportunity before Democrats right now to rethink, to have that opportunity, almost a Rumspringa, if you will? You don't control the judicial, the Congress, the executive. You have the opportunity to recreate what this party will be going forward. Is there a process for that? Is there a desire for that?
Yes, and being in the minority definitely is a lot more fun, and it invites a lot of creativity, and it's a riot in the pre-January 6th sense of the word.
That's not a slogan that's going to fly with most minorities. I think most minorities would be like,
But look, we now have the opportunity to organize for massive Democratic victory in 2026, and that's exactly what we're doing, because we think that everywhere they're headed is so extreme that the vast majority of the American people are going to reject it. Most Americans do not want to ban abortion across the country. Most Americans do not want to deport 12 million people. Most Americans don't want to turn the Department of Justice into an instrument of revenge and retaliation. And we're going to be standing up every single day, John, for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the freedoms and rights of the people.
Do you think it's going to be a lot of work, but I look forward to seeing how it goes. Do you think, with this election being sort of a repudiation, boy, there's nothing worse in politics than having to govern, it seems. Like, it just, when everybody gets mad at the status quo, do you think the leadership from the Democratic Party, the future of it, is going to come from Washington, which is so, the brand is so diluted at this point for the American people? Or do you think it's going to be more from the state houses and the governors? Where do you think that energy is going to come from in your mind?
I mean, look, I think it's going to come from all over the country. I think it's going to come from Democracy Summer, the project we've got for young people all over America to learn about the history of social change in the country and to get involved in digital organizing and canvassing and organizing. And, it might come from our 2 new states. And I'm not talking about Panama and Greenland. I'm talking about Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, which we are fighting to admit as new states for union.
But you don't control anything. You can't get these things done. By the way, Congressman, let me just say this. Democracy Summer sounds like really the worst camp anybody's ever been to. That does not sound like...
Well, I invite you to come and appear, and I think you'll find something very different.
Do it.
I mean, these young people...
Congressman, would you invite... If you guys... Listen to me. If you have a retreat, would I love to come down there and
all right, and you will be our guest comedic speaker at Democracy Summer.
I'm taking over this bitch. I'm coming down there, Raskin.
All right. Well, look, I got to tell you, what we've got, I should have brought it with me, but we've got the most beautiful poster in the world that Shepard Fairey made for us. He's the guy who did the Obama Hope poster.
Yeah.
He made a Democracy Summer poster for us. The future really is with the young people, and we need them. And there's a major battle going on for young America right now, and we need young people in the Democratic Party.
To lose? What was the hardest part? So many constituencies moved to the right. What was the one that stung the most? What was it? Latino voters made a big move, men and women, but young people, surprisingly, were the ones that really made a move. And until you sort of get together and decide what that core value is of the party, isn't it hard to have a plan to gain those demographics back?
Well, there's no doubt that the right-wing social media outlets and the talk shows and the podcasts have been targeting young men especially. And so that's why, look, I'm a 62-year-old grandfather now, which means I'm in the younger part of the party in Congress. And but my kids, my kids are in their 20s, okay? And I know what's going on with young people in their 20s, and they're being targeted, and we need to organize. And as the GOP turns itself into a cult with authoritarian habits of submission and obedience to authority, we have got to be a lot more like an open school for America to come in and to get educated about what's really going on, and to feed people not lies and conspiracy theories, but facts and the truth. So I invite you very much, Jon Stewart, to come out. You'll be our kickoff speaker for Democracy Summer 2025.
In your heart, do you feel like Democrats are being honest with themselves about what happened? Or I'm hearing a lot of, quite frankly, excuses that feel like, oh, we just didn't message well, or if I had only knocked on that door 4 times. Are they being honest enough with what their actual ideas are in terms of popularity within the American people and all those things? Or do you feel like it's still about, well, geez, if we just had better podcasting, we'd have won?
Well, it's a process for trying to figure it out. It's not like the election's over on November 5 and November 6, you know exactly what happened. I mean, it's a complicated situation, but, I'll tell you that everybody is very serious about trying to figure out both substantively what went wrong, but also what went wrong in terms of not connecting with different communications audiences out there. And as you know, it's not like the mainstream media is the mainstream media anymore. Everybody's getting their news and their ideas in different places. And we do have to be a lot better about getting in front of the different audiences that have grown up in this new system.
Well, sir, we really appreciate it. There's very few people I like to listen to more than you, and especially on that Judiciary Committee. Boy, your work in those committees is really, sometimes I feel like I'm watching like Matlock. Like the way you walk up there and you just slowly disassemble the logic and all those different things. It's really something to watch, man. And I think we all look forward to seeing those hearings soon. And we really appreciate you taking the time with us this evening. And is January 7th another milestone for democracy? None of us actually know civics, so.
I'll tell you one funny story about January 7th, because my kids always say that I get really depressing when I talk about the 6th. And I've got one really funny story, which is the next day I was down in Nancy Pelosi's office and I was waiting in the little receptionist area, and the receptionist picks up the phone and people are calling in saying, I was in your office yesterday. Do you guys have a lost and found? Because I think I forgot my phone there. Or I think I forgot my purse there. And so she didn't know what to do. And I said, yeah, let's get in touch with the Capitol Police. So they came over and they started writing everything down. Yeah, just give us your name, your social security number, your address, and we'll get you your property back.
Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland.